Coach, I know over the last two games, you guys have built some fire and some speed going into this game, but just talk about the emotions following what was a pretty poor shooting performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's disappointed, no doubt. Not what we expected, coming into the game tonight or the series in general. We all thought we'd be taking it back for Game 7. But to your point, tough night for a lot of guys. Shoot 35% and only score 78. Obviously, you're not going to win, even if you defend the way we did, which is giving up 98 and them shooting only 40% on any average night. Obviously, it's a comfortable win, but feel like that really hurt us in the three games outside of Game 3. Shooting, I think, 36% first game, 40.5% Game 2, and then 35% tonight. So those are hard to overcome, and it's tough when a lot of guys are struggling like that. We need somebody to step up there, and one or two guys to kind of stem the tide.
Ime, as much as you're willing to share, what was your message to the guys post-game in the locker room just now?
Yeah, we're disappointed, and it feels like 2 years in a row in the playoffs, kind of getting behind the 8-ball a little bit, how we can avoid some of those things, but also proud of them for fighting back down 3-0, and like I said, the expectation was to come out tonight and obviously play a better game and take it back to LA, so we're all disappointed as far as that, but minus, some injury, non-luck for us, I think a lot of guys showed tremendous growth this year and even in this playoff series alone. And so that was part of it. Stayed the course. We all got steps to take, and a lot of them did that this year. But ultimately didn't meet our expectation.
Just from your perspective, why do you think it was such a struggle to put points on the board tonight?
I mean, they switched a little bit more. We didn't create any advantages behind it. Got a little stagnant at times, but then we didn't offensive rebound. We didn't play with pace. All the things that we did in the last two games to kind of get advantages. But when they did get to go to some switching, had some decent shots. I felt like we missed some opportunities when we got to the paint and missed some passes, made some good passes, missed wide open shots, and then like I said, just a tough night on a lot of guys.
Throughout the last two seasons, even when you were struggling shooting, you still were able to kind of dominate on the boards. Did it surprise you at all how well the Lakers were able to rebound throughout the series, especially tonight?
The last two games for sure. Like I said, last game being our second worst of the year with only 6, and then I think we might have got 8 tonight. Just way too low for us. Not sure. Obviously, it's point of emphasis coming to the series, but we did a really good job in the first 4 games with that. And so an area we dominated all year and struggled these last 2 games, no doubt, especially with the poor shooting. But give them credit. Obviously, it was a focal point for them, and they did a good job there.
When you look back at the season as a whole, last year, this year, ending in the same spot, do you feel like you guys made progress, or do you feel like you guys kind of stagnated?
No, a lot of guys had a ton of improvement, no doubt, but our expectations were much higher, of course. There's injuries that happen, and even with that, we feel we could have had a better season in general and playoff series. So, Fred going down is what it is. We were going to go with our young guys and watch them develop, take some lumps with it, but felt we could have still done better than 52. A lot of end of game situations that we could have cleaned up and obviously have a better record there. Steven goes down. That's a tough one for a lot of reasons. He's very unique in what he does, and definitely no fall off when he comes in, and then Kevin obviously late, and so it's almost like losing a point guard is one thing, losing the big is one thing. We could probably absorb a wing better, with our depth there, and just lost 2 really unique guys for what they do for our team. But with that being said, we still had an expectation to move on and still finish better than we did.
Coach, as a follow-up to that, can you speak to, and I know the season just ended, but where you saw the growth from your young players the most? I mean, does anything stick out? You say, despite all those things you just named, what was the positives?
Yeah, I mean, having really big moments throughout the season for us. We could point out a lot of guys. Reed and Amen specifically handling the point guard duties and understanding that and dealing with the pressure and finding that balance of, getting us into stuff, when to score, when to facilitate. So they had to learn on the fly, 2 guys that really didn't play that position much at all in the past. And so that's there. Jabari obviously showed tremendous growth. Alperin being an all-star again, and Tari through the ups and downs. Guys played through some slumps and came out on the other side. And so, we'd like the balance and another step to be taken across the board, I think. And I think you saw it in the playoffs. That kind of happened right in front of our eyes. But consistency is the biggest key, especially with the young guys. And you have some poor starts like in this series, and then you have really good games, and then end it on a game like tonight. And that's just some of the ups and downs with it and consistency.
Did tonight kind of illustrate how impactful Kevin's absence was and why you even got him in the first place? Yeah,
no doubt. It's nights like this where guys are struggling, and you want a 25, 26-point scorer on the efficiency and the way he does it, and to avoid some of these nights when other guys are struggling. So, when myself and the coaches said that, these are the nights you have them for when other guys are kind of going through it. And throughout the season, you kind of carried us on nights like this with poor shooting nights, and until other guys got it going, and it was definitely evident tonight.
Obviously, another tough night for Reed. What are you hoping he kind of takes away from his first playoff experiences and the lessons you want him to go into the summer with?
Yeah, that teams are going to scheme and game plan for you, and put defenders on you in different different schemes and size on you, and when you have a good game or good series, the way he's been scoring lately, obviously they're going to plan for that, and you have to obviously understand how to attack it, understand the teams are going to do it, and it's going to be adjustments throughout the series. And so, but through the season though, that's been the case. When he comes into games, teams guard him a specific way with some of their best defenders, and so he kind of garners that attention, and something he has to continue to build and grow from, because teams are going to go after him quite often.
Coach, in terms of the connection between you, the front office, and ownership, it feels like that's been a strong point over the last 2 seasons. How would you assess how you guys, trying to move past this point in terms of conversations, additions, stuff like that?
Yeah, take a overall look at the group, areas of improvement, no doubt. And you're not just hoping, honestly, Fred and Steven come back, and you never know how injuries guys come back. So it's not like we're just basing everything on them coming back. We still, as I've always said, want our young guys to grow and take steps, and I think they did that this year, and they'll definitely come back better next year. But do need to address some needs, the lack of shooting at times. Whether it's a backup point guard or our young guys did enough this year to kind of run that with Fred back, and so we'll take a look at all those things. I think have some very interesting conversations on having a little bit of more mix instead of some duplicates out there.
And Coach, with that being said, how long will it take for you and maybe Raphael sit down and start looking at this roster construction to maybe get some more shooters or maybe get some more different type of players on the team?
We'll get to it ASAP, pretty quickly.
The stagnancy that you pointed to today has been something you've pointed to at points throughout the season. What part of that falls on players? What part of that falls on coaches when the offense gets stagnant and stuck in the way it does?
I mean, all of the above. It's a team thing. It's not any blame to them or myself. We all got to do it together. And at times we look really good against it. At times we get to hunting matchups. And a team like the Lakers specifically, because of some of their poor defenders, they're really good at guarding against that. So it felt like, because they went to switching, I don't think our guards really got loose against their bigs tonight like we had. And then, we got Alpe on the elbow, and it's just a little stagnant there. We got to get to more off-ball actions and create advantages there. And throughout the series we have, especially, even in the regular season against them when they went to switching, struggled the game 2 with Kevin with some of that. But it's a little combination of both, no doubt. Understanding what works for us, what's worked well, and then not deviating from that. So on me to get them into the sets, on them to run them, and do the things we worked on leading into the series.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.